Hi there. Thank you so much for subscribing to the Literacy Nest YouTube channel. I love sharing tips with all of you each week. All right, so let's talk about something that I get some questions about. I try to have some videos that will answer the common questions that I see in my Orton Gillingham group. And one of those is this: where do I find students for my Orton Gillingham Practicum? So before I get into my ideas, this is going to be linked to an entire blog post, so you can go and check that out if you want, and there'll be a little sheet that you can print out with some ideas. But I'm going to share some ways, if you're looking for Orton Gillingham Practicum students, that you can go and find them. Now, if you're already working in a school, this isn't going to be very difficult, is it? So when I did my very first Orton Gillingham practicum, it was pretty simple. I was able to pick students that were in my building. But you might be not working in a school setting at all. And so you are thinking about, where do I find my students? So here are some ways. First of all, you can use good old-fashioned word of mouth. You can talk to friends and family to let them know that you're starting your Orton Gillingham practicum, that this is a very exciting time for you, and you're looking for students to work with that would fit the profile of a suitable Orton Gillingham student. And your supervisor can certainly guide you in that area. But it's going to be someone that would present as someone who's in need of specific literacy intervention in the realm of perhaps someone with dyslexia. Okay. Secondly, so besides word of mouth, you can go into local parent groups, maybe online or in perhaps there's an email forum, some social media group, and ask. What I would do is very thoughtfully plan out what you're going to say first. Say who you are. Explain where your training is out of, so the name of the organization that is supervising you, and explain what you're looking for very carefully. I would also mention the time commitment, because typically if you're going to get that practicum student, you're going to have to make sure that they can commit to a minimum of 2 lessons per week with you. Okay, so asking in parent groups, also providing any kind of credentials they may need, and some parameters around the length of time that the practicum will be. Okay, next, you could speak with local schools, both public and private. Some private schools are even more than happy to have you go in during the school day. So that's another option to consider. But reaching out and networking with your local schools is going to be really a great way to find students. Another way is to speak to your local chapters of both your Decoding Dyslexia state group or reaching out to the local branch of the IDA. So for your particular state, and speak to them and say, I'm looking for some students. Do you think you have any recommendations? The other thing you can check into are local homeschooling groups. Sorry, my phone is texting. I'm going to be turning that sound off. All right, so checking with homeschooling groups, and perhaps they have their own Facebook group that you can get into. What I would check with those homeschooling groups is that you are reading their rules and guidelines before you post anything about working with a student in this type of setting. Okay, so checking with the admin of that group first is really, really helpful. Okay, and then finally, talking to local professionals like neuropsychologists, school psychologists, anyone in the realm of working in special education or doing educational assessment can perhaps find some students for you as well. So I've given you about 6 different ideas for finding students. So let me know which one you think would work well for you. You can let me know in the comments. What I want to be sure to let people know is that you may want to type something up formally. Okay, you may want to have a letter that first paragraph introduces yourself and has your background, your credentials. Then second paragraph would be explaining how this is fulfilling a requirement for your Orton Gillingham training, that you're going to be supervised, that sometimes the lesson may be recorded, that there may be another adult in the room with you. So for instance, your supervisor may be coming from time to time to watch you and that student. I would go through the parameters and the policies. That means what time commitments there are, the length of time, the amount of hours that you need to fulfill. Some practicums you may need 100 hours to 120. Others you might need more, like 200, depending on your level of training that you're seeking. So just think about how you can craft a really well thought out letter. That way, if parents want to learn more about how this is all going to run, then you can pass that on to them. From my personal experience, parents love when you are selecting a student for a practicum, because they know that there's going to be a top level Orton Gillingham supervisor overseeing the whole process and providing really sound recommendations as they observe the student with you. So let me know if you have any questions at all about finding students, and I would love to help if you ever need to reach out for more ideas. All right, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time.